My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, loyal servant to the true Emperor, Marcus Aurelius.
The next DLC for Stellaris Galactic Paragons is all about leaders. We're going to be getting a brand new feature called, just like the DLC, Paragons. In this video, I'm going to go through all the information we now know about the new Paragons, the unique leaders that will be coming very soon to a galaxy near you. Today we have the Arctic art director Frida and the game director for Paradox Arctic himself, Peter Nallo, to talk us through the new Galactic Paragons. Peter tells us that Paragons is primarily an expansion with new mechanics such as the Council and the Leader rework. But in a DLC that centres around leaders, it felt only natural that the developers would craft some exceptional characters for us to encounter out there amongst the stars. The initial ideas for most of these characters were generated during a half-day workshop. They gathered everyone at Arctic and sat down to brainstorm what kind of characters they would like to see in the galaxy. They got somewhat cryptic names such as Sneakson, Big Woman, Harkonnen the Governor, and Charming Pirate, and so on. But the concepts became the foundation for their iterative process. These backstories changed the art, and the art then changed the backstories. The developers also got good input from the content designers over at Studio Green that led to even more tweaks, so the characters you will encounter have evolved organically. They call these individuals the Paragons. Now, these Paragons are divided into two categories: Renowned Paragons and Legendary Paragons. Frida, the Arctic art director, then takes over to tell us that from the art team, they have meticulously handcrafted numerous unique portraits for the Renowned and Legendary Paragons. And we've seen some of the artwork so far, it really does look fantastic. I was hopeful we might be getting a rework to some of the actual species portraits, but unfortunately it's not, it's just unique portraits for these leaders. Each leader is designed to have a distinct appearance that reflects their personality and story, making the galaxy feel more alive and diverse. During the creation of these portraits, the developers wanted to elevate the art and storytelling aspects of the leaders, particularly for the Legendary Paragons. One way they have done this is by breaking up the static poses typically seen in the species portraits. Instead, they've incorporated dynamic poses, gestures, and expressions to make these characters truly stand out. For the Legendary Paragons, they've moved away from the traditional three-quarter pose and experimented with more engaging and dramatic poses. This change not only helps to emphasize the importance of these characters, but also makes their portraits very visually striking. The Renowned Paragons, on the other hand, maintain a pose closer to the original species portraits, but with added details and props that help convey their personal stories. Subtle elements such as hand gestures, smirks, scars, or unique clothing items have helped to give a glimpse into each character's background and personality. So let's take a look at the new Paragons. The Renowned Paragons are individuals who you don't stumble upon out in the galaxy. Instead, they will seek you out. There are 16 of them in the DLC, 2 for each ethic. There's a note here, apologies to Gestalt Empires, and that's because I believe there are no Renowned Paragons for Gestalt Empires, so machines and hives will simply not get access to this particular part of the new DLC, which is a shame. They will strive to join empires whose ethics match theirs. A pacifist Paragon will seek out a pacifist empire. A militarist Paragon will seek out a militarist empire, and so forth. The idea behind the Renowned Paragons is to give the sense of a living galaxy. Each character hints at a bigger world, and we see them as something that will spice up your playthroughs and give it a more distinct flavour. You will find that vastly different types of characters seek you out depending on who you are. Each Renowned Paragon can be seen as a possible representation of an ethic. Each Renowned Paragon that you encounter has, of course, unique art, a personal backstory, and a powerful destiny trait right from the start, so these are very powerful leaders. But they also have a negative trait that will add some flavour, and they have a chance of triggering some events specifically tied to them that show more of their personality. We'll go through some examples, but basically, I think this is going to give quite a shift to the power of each individual ethic. Now, depending on your ethics, you will get access to a specific leader, possibly 2 leaders from each ethic during the game, and these leaders will have quite a big impact on your playstyle. They're going to be giving you modifiers, special abilities, and that sort of thing, so now we are, in some ways, seeing a rebalance to how powerful each ethic is, and that might mean playing something like Pacifist becomes more powerful than previously. Introducing Kai Shah the Spy Master. Gameplay wise, Kai Shah is a general, specialised to sit on the council. With the authoritarian ethic, she is the shadowy right-hand woman you would want to have on your side as an authoritarian ruler to deal with anything that threatens your power. We can see that she is a renowned general, a well-connected information broker whose networks span the breadth of the galaxy. So this may mean that generals have impacts on our spying and on our espionage. I'm also excited to note here that, of course, generals are getting reworked with the leader rework, and this might make them more powerful than previously. Previously, you'd put them on an army, maybe, if you wanted to buff that army just a bit, but usually because of the unity cost, you might not actually bother doing so. If they have really special powers that we can only access through having these generals and putting them on the council, that makes generals a much more valuable resource than previously. Interestingly, Kai Shah was inspired by the Paradox Arctic UX designer KC, purely by coincidence. As they worked on her character, they emphasized her features more, creating a unique look for this character. She does look very robotic here. I'm actually not sure whether or not this character is synthetic or not. She could be biological, this could just be facial markings, but it could also be that we have a new image here which is inspired by synthetics, a synthetic that doesn't look exactly like a regular portrait, a regular species in the galaxy. Borin is a friendly scavenger. Borin's design was inspired by the Salvager portrait from Overlord, and the art team had a blast taking that concept further, creating another character of that species. He comes from a salvaging community on an old space station, and left to explore the wonders of the galaxy. Ultimately, he joins your empire. In order to make him feel like an engineer, they incorporated yellow signal colours for reliability. Borin is charming. His dream has always been to leave his salvager enclave and travel across the galaxy, but he still has his mechanical skills and repairs all friendly fleets that are in the same system as him. Also, if you are lucky, he might build you a robot that can join your empire. Now that does sound kind of interesting. He is quite warm and an almost spiritual character for a materialist compared to the other materialist leader, Zonda, who thinks your flesh is weak. Zonda sounds like everybody's favourite character for materialist if you're going to go down the synthetic ascension path. Again, trying to show how different the same ethic can be. I also think it's cool if we have something of a Mechanicum inspired character here, having something where we have materialism and spiritualism actually interwoven, rather than being shown as diametrically opposite, which is the general trend in Stellaris. Borin is a salvager who left his enclave, we can see that, and is a peerless mechanic who can fix just about anything. He has a trait there, which is the wrench and 2 symbols that look like an engineering symbol, possibly close to the materialist symbol. That must be the trait that gives fleet repair system-wide. He maybe is a governor. No, we can actually see he's a scientist. I beg your pardon, a renowned scientist. I wonder where his basing will count as a scientist. Perhaps we can now station scientists on outposts or something like that if they have some sort of system-wide effect, or maybe only when he is in a science ship. He's also a substance abuser. I'm thinking they've reworked that trait to make it slightly different. Otherwise, that's just kind of funny for the flavor here. And if you're enjoying this video, please become a paragon for that like button. Vass the Gilded is a pacifist renowned paragon. With Vass, the idea was to give her a unique and extravagant look. It was important her love for luxury was shown off in her design, with extravagant clothing and accessories. Through the development of her outfit, she quickly became similar to Princess Amidala, so it took a few iterations to find a unique shape of her headpiece. Her pose is also calm and dignified, hinting at her expertise as a diplomat. Yeah, we can see here from some of the earlier concept art, that picture on the left is so Queen Amidala. In fact, the middle picture here with the red scarf is very much, I want to say that's episode 1 Amidala, where she had her hair in those red banded things. Maybe, I'm pretty sure that was episode 1, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm glad they moved away from being too Amidala, but I think she does look like quite a cool character. Vass was one of the characters that came out of the workshop that was pretty much the same the whole way through. She was a bit more courtesan-ish for a while, but now she is noble and senatorial. The QA Daniel Teague came up with her. We can see she is a governor, renowned of course, and pacifist, a charismatic diplomat raised in the Alyssum Magnetar Sisterhood. Fighting for peace, she wages her war through guile and negotiation. I'm interested to find out actually what her negative trait here is, because that looks suspiciously like a wine glass. Maybe we now have multiple types of substance abuse that can go on in the galaxy, especially for the more privileged upper echelons. Klar Minder is a ruthless governor. He is all about ruling and exploiting others, with a strong focus on industry and wealth. Personality-wise, he's a bit of a submissive, ass-kissing worm, which I found that one quite funny actually. We took inspiration from the Harkonnens of Dune, designing him to be as slimy and unappealing as possible to match his character, reusing one of the species from the Aquatics DLC. Klar Minder is truly revolting, but still quite lovely in a twisted kind of way according to the game director. He is great to place on planets where you really want to squeeze the most out of the working population. They won't be happy, but boy will they work. He is of course authoritarian. We can see from this image he is a governor, which we know, a greedy overseer who grovels before those who hold power, exploiting and humiliating those who do not. His intelligence and cruelty produce exceptional results. We can see he's got a trait with a pickaxe that probably increases our output from minerals, I'm going to guess, basic resources. Of course, he increases slave output if that trait is still similar. I'm not sure about the negative. That looks similar to stubborn on his negatives, but possibly it's something different. And his final manifest destiny power is something to do with authority, I'm guessing, or stability. That's the hammer gavel symbol. Maybe. It's hard to know yet, though. I can't wait to see what all of these 700 new traits actually do. We only get to see 4 of the new 16 renowned paragons coming, but now we can move over to the Legendary Paragons, which are quite a bit different. The Legendary Paragons are encountered as you explore space and encounter new worlds. There are 4 Legendary Paragons in the game, each with their own unique abilities, relics, and stories waiting for you to uncover. The Legendary Paragons in many ways represent the different aspects of what Stellaris is: exploration, war, ancient mysteries, and colonization, which I guess does fit relatively well into the explore, expand, exploit, exterminate category that we of course know Stellaris is kind of a part of. Speaking of colonization, one of the Legendary Paragons they are introducing in this developer diary is Azarin, the melancholy plantoid who is the last of her species. And Linus, the content designer, has even more to tell us about this new Paragon. With Azarin, the initial design goals involved the terraforming mechanic as well as the theme of loss. Early on, she was simply called the Sad Plantoid. Her path is one of redemption, and to achieve it, she will need the help of a larger civilization like yours. Terraforming can be a powerful tool in Stellaris, and the developers wanted her gameplay to leverage that. Though it's still an expensive endeavour, Azarin's terraforming has multiple unique points to it, and ladies and gentlemen, get ready for your mind to be blown. She will allow you to turn the most inhospitable planets, meaning barren planets, other planets that simply could never be terraformed, into Gaia worlds. She does this at the cost of some of her own life, and oh boy, that's kind of an interesting mechanic. You can only do it a few times. As you use up her power, she will wither, and we will see actual in-game visualization of you sucking the life force from her in order to get new Gaia worlds. It's kind of gruesome, but I'm kind of here for it. Her power of course comes at a great cost, and you should only utilize it before dire circumstances will follow. That finite fleeting nature is something the developers hope will convey her humanity, or xenomanity, her personality, and her story. It ties into a big part of what Galactic Paragons is all about, to bring characters to the forefront of the experience, looking beneath the galaxy's grandeur all the way down to the relatable, and letting their stories feed into our own. They've also shown off the other 3 unique legendary paragons, which are Scrand Sharpbeak and Admiral, the Beholder, which is that weird obelisk with the fluid coming out the top, if you remember. Phrasing, I know, sorry, but that is a galactic paragon that represents some sort of psychic entity beyond our galaxy that interacts with us through the obelisk. And apparently it's pretty bad. Things could maybe happen. I'm not looking forward to how the bad things, but I'm interested to find out what the story is. And finally, the titular character that we see in the trailer of Galactic Paragons is in fact revealed, and that is Cades, Scion of Vagros. Cades has slept for a millennia and now comes back to embark on a quest to find out all about their past. They also, it seems, come with a shiny relic that you might even be able to get your hands on. And on top of all of that, each of the Galactic Paragons come with voice acting and voice work, meaning we'll actually get to hear them in-game like we have the advisor voices, I believe. That's really awesome, adding more vocal depth, more character to Stellaris as a whole.
All I knew is gone, but there is still so much to fight for. There is a time for talk and a time for the claw.
None of this would be possible without new UI elements, and we're going to be getting some. We now have a new window type that will be used for recruitment, moving away from the standard diplomacy option. This is rather pretty, I do quite like it, and it's a nice way to show off all the information we need to see when we come across one of these paragons. It also makes them feel unique and distinct because this is not a window we will otherwise be interacting with. And of course, to make it feel even more unique and distinct, we have a specific event window that will pop up whenever we have an event related to a paragon. The developers created this event window where leader portraits are displayed to the side of the event art, making it clear that this is an event tied to your leader, and it's very clear which leader it is. From Frida, the art director's point of view, this will help engage with the written content, having the character present beside the text. I'm hopeful this might also be the case if we have some leader-specific events for the rest of the leaders in our empire. They might also utilize this style as well. I'm hopeful that is something we'll get from this DLC, this next expansion. If you'd like to find out more about how leaders have been reworked in Galactic Paragons, everything that's coming to both the paid DLC and the free content we'll be getting, click the video on screen now.